I've been doing Jiu-Jitsu now for 3 years. I'm in there doing the white belt thing. If anyone's listening that does it, they know what I'm talking about. It's like the crazy white belt guy. And so finally, when the professor shows up, I remember I'm rolling and the round ends, and he comes over and he puts his hand on my shoulder and he says, "I respect you." And I was like, "What is he talking about?" And then it dawned on me, like, he's saying, "Chill out, dude. You don't have to prove anything to me. Like, I respect you." And I was like, "Oh, okay."
Today on the show, we're joined by Navy SEAL and scholar Justin McAfee, talking about his lifelong pursuit of fitness, which has led him to Jiu-Jitsu and the unexpected mental complexity of it. He shares his top 3 takeaways as a SEAL: humility, team, and mentors, his thoughts on purpose, why he still pursues discomfort and challenges, and finally, the video games he loves to rock on his downtime. Let's get into it. Justin McAfee, San Diego, California, Navy SEAL. Thank you for coming.
Hey, it's my pleasure. Thanks for having me here. Yeah.
It's like to have you here.
Yeah.
Tell me how fitness for you has evolved over time.
Goodness. Yeah. So how old was I? I probably started working out when I was 13. So goodness, that's over 25 years ago. I can't believe that. Like 27 years ago. And in the beginning, it was just, I knew nothing, just doing whatever I was going to do in my basement with some, makeshift weight set. Then you get into high school and you're on a team or something, and then you go to like a gym class where they're showing you some lifts, but still I pretty much, hey, I'm going to do it my way. But I had so much passion and intensity. I don't think I was doing things horribly wrong, but definitely weren't doing them probably the right way either. So got into, played a little bit of college sports. Of course, the training there is a little more sophisticated, a little more educational. Learned a little bit. Going to the Navy, that process, getting ready to go to BUD/S training, which is Navy SEAL training, it's a lot of running and swimming. So that was a weird time for me. So I'd always been kind of like a gym rat. So I had to put that aside, put the muscles away, and get ready for the endurance game, So that was always tough for me because I was more of a sprinter. So I had to get that system on par, which took a while. And then once I got through with all the training and I'm back at the team again, now state-of-the-art facilities with human performance staff. And that's when I really kind of set the ego aside and went over there and I'm like, hey, show me how to do this properly. What kind of workouts do you right and stuff like that. So, but by and large, I've always kind of enjoyed coming up and writing my own program just out of fun for me. I know it's not always probably the best thing. It's something I enjoy, but that's why I like, as I'm getting older now, Brett, and I've done all that. So now I'm ready to just turn the brain off sometimes and have somebody else be like, this is what you're doing. And it also helps, it'll bring a certain amount of intensity that I normally wouldn't bring by myself, because now someone's showing me something. I want to give them the honor to do it right. So I really, you can bring an extra level of intensity, I feel like, when you have a trainer right there with you.
Well, sounds like to me that it's 25 years of learning. You're a lifelong learner.
Yeah.
Fitness.
Mm-hmm.
And it went from just the very beginning, probably chest and buys.
Yeah.
To sprinting, to endurance. So you've been learning different styles of fitness your whole life.
Yeah, and now Jiu-Jitsu. Like I was telling you before, I've been doing Jiu-Jitsu now for 3 years. And I'm never going to not do the workouts. That's always going to be a part of my life. But it's fun to have something else. As you get older and you want to be young and be involved in some kind of sport, well, I always say Jiu-Jitsu is kind of like golf, even though it sounds really oxymoronic, but it's something that you can do into your later years, so it's something that I can still stay active and be a part of a competitive sport. So that's another element of my fitness that I've been kind of venturing into these past couple of years.
Not many folks at your age would say that Jiu-Jitsu is an age-appropriate sport.
Yeah. 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 Well, injuries, I'm not going to lie and say injuries don't happen, but, you've got to be smart, right? If you go in there and you're trying to fight and hurt, like win all the time, you're going to get hurt. Learn the technique, treat it as like a sport. It's a game. It's not a fight. It's a game. You're trying to win. You're trying to outthink and outmaneuver someone. So that's how you can stay safe. And, they call it the gentle art.
We've filmed you a couple times now with Brett.
Yeah.
And you guys have clearly a good relationship, great dynamic. Love watching you on camera. How'd that start?
Oh yeah. So Brett and I, we met basically it was through church, but my brother-in-law, so my wife's sister moved out, and a guy who used to be a Navy SEAL as well gets engaged, and we go out to somewhere a little bit north here to a little mansion to get away for the bachelor party, and that's where I met Brett. And the funny thing is that we were going to do a workout, as we're there over the weekend on a Saturday. And I knew Brett a little bit, but not too good. We really kind of met each other there. And I was like, hey, I'm going to lead this workout. And then, we did some kettlebells, actually. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I tried to, have a good, pretty thorough workout. And it was after that, because I was all adamant about, hey, I'm leading this thing. I'm doing it, this is my workout. And then my brother-in-law was like, hey, he's a trainer. And I was like, oh my gosh. I think he probably thought I was the most obnoxious person in the world. So I was like, went up to him, and next time I saw him, like, dude, I'm sorry. I didn't know. Of course, he was like, no, I loved it. It was great.
So he showed you grace.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah. So
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
But have your objectives for fitness changed? Like at 13, you probably had a different objective than you had at 23 versus 33.
I see what you mean. Yeah, definitely. There's the vanity of it, right? You want to, when you're in your teens, you're like, hey, I want to get the girls' attention. So, of course, you want muscles. All right. So there's definitely an element of that. Then it's like, hey, if I'm going to be a better athlete, I need to be stronger. I need to be faster. And then the vanity is just the side product,
Sure.
And of course, that goes hand in hand with going into the military, into special operations. You have to be more functional. Okay, that's why I got into the CrossFit and the cross training and stuff like that, because now it's not about like, repping it out, getting the pump, as much as it is like being full range of motion, functional, being able to run, being able to lift, being able to pull yourself up, any and everything you need to be able to do and do it pretty well. And now being out of the military for just this past year, I feel like I'm back into that fun zone of like, I'm going to do what I want to do, so no one really would have expected me to be the one that to stick through it, and it'd be kind of like a choice in life. But for whatever reason, I love it. So
tell me, you had a successful career as an elite SEAL. You leave and you start at the very bottom of the ladder in Jiu-Jitsu.
Oh yeah,
that requires a lot of humility. Like, was that hard for your ego to go from the top to have some 12-year-old kick your butt?
Yes and no. I mean, I think if there's anything that the Navy SEAL teams will teach you is humility, okay? And to prove that point, so when I would go home for Christmas, while I was still in, I would be, at gatherings of old friends and stuff like that, and people would think like, oh, Justin, I know you're probably just the best SEAL that's out there, because I'm from a small town. They're just so happy. I'm like, you have no idea the kind of person, the caliber of person that is coming out to defend this country in this way. So no, I'm not the best. I like to think I can hold my own, but you're going to be humbled in the Navy SEAL teams. Every day, there's always someone that can shoot better, is faster, stronger, smarter, better tactics. And they say it takes a long time before you even start to be proficient at your job because there's just so much to learn. So, but it is humbling when I went to try Jiu-Jitsu towards the end of my Navy career, thinking like, hey, like, who do you say, like, if you were to ask somebody like, are Navy SEALs tough guys, just random off the street, they'd be like, yes, they are. And, so you have like, oh, I'm going to show up and the professor is going to be like, hey, this guy's great. Let's get this guy a towel and let's get him going. But no, you get in there and you realize you know nothing. And you've got, Joe the accountant or whoever that's just like has kind of like the body that you would be intimidated by, that's just like working you, and you're like, man, this is humbling. And it's good too, because like we all want to be macho, right? That's why we work out. We want to look good and look big, but if you can't really defend yourself, then I would argue, are you really that macho? So
tell me a story about a Joe the accountant early on when you're...
Oh, well, he's a metaphor, of course. He's a metaphor, of course. But there's plenty of them in there. I remember specifically at one point in time, this is when I kind of, so my professor, I think when I first showed up, was on a vacation or something, or he went somewhere to train somewhere else. So I'd been there for like a week or so doing my thing, and I had turned this whole thing in about jiu-jitsu, but I can't. But anyway, so I'm in there doing the white belt thing. If anyone's listening that does it, they know what I'm talking about. It's like the crazy white belt guy. And so finally, when the professor shows up, Brazilian guy, I remember I'm rolling in the round ends, and he comes over and he puts his hand on my shoulder and he says, "I respect you." And I was like, what is he talking about? And then I finally, it dawned on me, like, he's saying, chill out, dude. You don't have to prove anything to me. Like, I respect you. Now, are you willing to take what I'm telling you, calm down, and actually learn some jiu-jitsu instead of coming in here and trying to just be the tough guy that's erratic? So that was pretty humbling when those little few words, it's like, I respect you. And I was like, oh, okay.
So hard to hear and bruising to the ego, but critical to growth.
Yeah.
Isn't that kind of how life goes?
Yeah. I really appreciate the coaches and the mentors along the way that has that finesse to be able to tell you something critically that breaks you down, but at the same time doesn't crush you, but will bring you back up. So that's definitely a skill.
Who was that mentor for you on the teams that could speak to you with truth that you didn't get offended by?
We had a guy. The first one that comes to mind, I'm sure there was a few. First one that comes to mind is a guy that was a former enlisted guy that went away and went to officer candidate school and came back as an officer. We call that being a Mustang. I don't know if you're familiar with that term. So they have respect as it is, right? Because they've done the enlisted thing. They have all the skills that an enlisted guy would get, and then they come back as a leader. All right. So they kind of have that respect walking into the room. So he's in my platoon for one particular pump, and training's all done. This is before all the required training is finished, and then we have a few months before we deploy. So we're now we've trained as a unit, we've hit all our wickets. Now we can go by ourselves and conduct our own training, more specific to the theater to which we're going. So we're at a location training, and now we don't have any graders watching as we would have had before. Now it's just us. And of course, you can imagine the slippage that might happen in that type of scenario. And everybody's like, I don't really want to do this. Nobody's watching me, kind of thing. But when it was all over, we always come in and debrief at the end, no matter what we do. We can eat a sandwich, we're going to do a debrief about it. And, it was a guy who never said much. And he said, you know what? We're supposed to be sharpening the sword together now, So, like, it was a wake-up call for everybody. Like, you don't need the instructor behind your back to make sure you're doing the right thing. You should be mature enough and man enough to do the right thing when nobody's watching. And for him to say that in front of everyone and call pretty much everyone out like that.
Speaking truth that no one wanted to hear.
Yeah.
And everyone responded to it.
Oh, yeah.
That's powerful.
Mm-hmm.
So you've had this big transition in your life. How many years in the Navy?
About 13.
13 in the Navy. Is there anything that you miss?
Oh, yeah. And I think as time goes on, those memories and those things will start to mean more and more to me. It's kind of one of those things. What was it? I think it was Dan Marino. I heard say that they asked him about, what do you remember most? Was which touchdown pass or whatever it was. And he's like, it was just the locker room with the guys. And I think that's true for me as well. It's kind of just like being around the guys. I think that's why I gravitated toward, like I said, I grew up with brothers. I was always on a team. There's something about being on a team that is special. And I don't think there's only a few teams like the SEAL teams that exist out there where you're so tight-knit. Because, your life can be in your buddy's hand, right? So you better be a tight-knit group. And if you're not a tight-knit group, you can still get the job done. And I'm sure there's been groups of teams, tactical teams that aren't tight-knit. But I'm telling you, if you're tight-knit, you're going to be a force to be reckoned with, for sure.
Healthy community.
Mm-hmm.
You just hear about so many people in the corporate world who hate their job, and you ask them why, like, There's no team. There's no
Yeah.
culture here.
Yeah.
And you've left that culture, and you're already missing it. A year into it. How's it been on your family? You've got 2 kids, 3 kids. How's that balance changed?
Well, interestingly enough, my wife would probably kill me for saying this, but I'm saying anyway. So she got so used to me being home and being gone, being home and being gone. So she kind of got used to when I'm there, the time was precious. All right. So there wasn't much time to argue or bicker about anything. Now I'm always there. I'm always lurking behind no. So, it's been an adjustment, sort of getting used to seeing me all the time. And, but it was time where it's not a turn for the worse. It's definitely for the better. So, and,
Change is hard.
Yeah.
Even if it's good change.
Yeah, exactly. So
Has it been a change in your purpose? Do you feel like there's a change in your purpose as a human, or you just feel like it's a different expression of purpose? What you're doing,
being home now,
being home, your new objectives.
It's tough. I think a lot of guys, I've heard, a lot of guys really, really struggle when they leave a community like the one I was in to try to find purpose. But thank the Lord for me. My faith, which I became faithful later on in my SEAL career. So that kind of like really changed everything for me. It gave me a new perspective, gave me purpose. So, I would like to think I'd be able to be working at McDonald's and have joy in my heart because that's my purpose. So whatever I'm doing, I feel fulfilled in that sense. But, that doesn't mean I don't have goals that I want to achieve more. I don't think, being a Navy SEAL in my past, I don't want my whole life to be resting on that on my resume. I want to go forward and do bigger, better things for sure. Yeah.
So your purpose is bigger than the job you have at any given time in your life.
Yeah, I would say that's true for anyone, right? You're not your job, right?
So you've had this great community. You've had your back for 13 years. Tons of support. Who's got your back now?
Oh, man. Guys like Brett, my brother-in-law, Paul, who used to be a SEAL. So the funny thing is my wife's sisters, 2 of them have moved out here to San Diego and are both married. So now we have kind of an extended family. So it feels really good in a weird way, and not a weird way, but in a really grounding way to have such a growing family in the area. So I'd say my brothers-in-law for sure. I've got nieces and nephews now. That's fun. My kids are a little bit older. But aside from that, just I have a good friend named Zimitro, who I do Jiu-Jitsu with all the time. He's my one of my best friends, and he's a black belt, so we spend a lot of time together. And he's a guy I know he would come no matter what hour of the night, do anything. Another good friend, Matt. I got a good friend named James. Most of my friends now are all at church, so that's my team now. So
is your friend who's a black belt, does he let you win sometimes when he's feeling a little pity for you?
I think he does, but he pretends like he doesn't. So this is weird mind game. So I'm like, you let me win, didn't you? And he's like, no. And I'm like, I don't believe you. He's really good. He's beating up on me enough to where, like, if he does let me win, maybe I don't want to know.
And are you at the same level yet, or are you still?
No, he's way up. Yeah, he's great. Yeah, he's been doing it for 11, 12 years.
So it's a mind game. You have no idea.
No idea.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Besides the mind game of your buddy, you've got your family that's moved out. You got this easy transition. You got this new chapter in life. It sounds amazing. What's hard? Is there anything hard?
Yeah. No, I mean, everything's no. I wish I could say, yeah, there's always challenges. I'm in school right now. So class is challenging. There's always things at home, like I said, the challenge of being always there. My training's always a challenge. And that's kind of like, I would say that's part of the reason why I love working out. Maybe that's what it is, because it's a way to challenge yourself daily, right? Otherwise, if you don't have something like that in your life, I think it would be real easy for someone like me to lose my purpose, lose my drive. So having an outlet to come into a gym, whether it be this or whether I'm playing, what are they playing now? Pickleball, whatever it is. If I have something that I can do active to get the air in my lungs and get my blood pumping and get my muscles going, I can take that as a challenge and feel fulfilled at the end of the day. If I don't work out for a couple days, my wife's like, "What's wrong with you?" And I'm like, "You know what? It's because I haven't worked out." And she's like, "Yeah, that's it. You need to go bang your head in the wall or something for a while. You're in a bad mood." So, yeah.
Isn't it crazy that our inertia draws us towards this idea of the couch and comfort, but all that does is lead to like angst.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What is that?
It's like we seek comfort, but it leads to unhappiness.
Yeah.
And so there's this discipline you've built up over your life of, I'm going to seek uncomfortableness in my physical fitness.
Yeah, I think we all love to rest, right? The idea of resting. But if that's all you do, it turns into a vice.
That's right.
But I think there's nothing better. I mean, how good does it feel Saturday morning when you've done everything you need to do all week and you don't even have to set that alarm, It's probably my favorite thing when I have no care in the world and I can just rest that day. But it is not that good if I've been resting all week, right? So
we got this wonderful example of 6 days of work followed by 1 day of rest.
Exactly.
Like it's modeled for us.
Yeah. It is so up with that, right?
When that ratio gets skewed, you become useless.
Yeah.
So when you do rest, what is that? What's your go-to relaxation thing? How do you unwind?
I still play video games.
Which one?
I've been playing Call of Duty. I played the nerdy ones. I used to always play Madden, which I'm thinking about getting back into, but I'm afraid if I do that, then no one would ever see me again. But what is it? Elden Ring is like the fantasy thing with swords. I got way into that, and my son now plays Fortnite, so it's kind of something that he and I can do together. We can hang out. So that's coming back around for me on a rest, for my rest days. But normally it's just sleeping in, probably not caring too much about my diet choices that day, just kicking back. I have cigar every now and then. So that's something good to do for a rest day.
Which Madden? What year?
Madden. Oh my goodness.
Don't say like 10 or something.
Well, where are they at right now?
They're way up there.
Yeah, I couldn't give you the year, but I can tell you one year my brother and I, we played so many seasons with the Tennessee Titans that everyone in the game had retired. Because we were doing the draft every year, and all the players in the game were now like HB number 22 or WR number 85. It's like there were no names left in the game. That's how, man, yeah.
Still playing.
Yeah, still going. Oh, what a great time that was.
They're great. Video games are great.
Yeah.
Oh. So, finishing it up, do you have a quote that you live by? What's your mantra?
Oh, man. I don't know if this was my mantra, but this is my favorite quote. All right. Hypocrisy is the tribute that vice pays to virtue. So.
Talk more about that.
Yeah.
Unpack that.
I think what that means is that we all approve the good, even the worst of us. Like, even Adolf Hitler bought Christmas presents for his closest friends. Even Don Corleone, the mobster, wears a suit and tie and puts money into the community. Why do they want to appear to be good? Because we all recognize and approve what is good. But only God truly loves what is good. And I just think it's a truism that, hey, there is a good, there is an evil, because even look at the people that are bad will even be hypocrites about trying to be good.
Huh. What a great one.
Yeah.
Never heard it.
Yeah.
Justin, thanks for your time today.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yep.
All right. Cheers, man.